Okay, here we go. 1 John 2:20. But you have an anointing from the Holy One, and you know all things. You already know you don't need another opinion. You don't need more confirmation on that anointing. That knowing is already in you. You might be watching this thinking, but I'm still unsure. Let me tell you something. The only reason you're unsure is because you've been taught to doubt. You've been taught to doubt your own voice. Good Lord. But that voice inside you, that's not fear, that's emotion. That's divine guidance. You can listen to 100 pastors, 1,000 podcasts, but when it's real, you feel it. Jesus said, "My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me." John 10:27. So the question isn't, can you hear them? The question is, will you trust what you already know? And listen, I'm not saying you can't ask God for a sign. You can. I do it all the time. But you've got to be spiritually awake enough to recognize it when it shows up. Let me tell you about mine. Every time I'm about to make a big decision, the kind that shifts me, something in my life, my daddy's old truck drives by. And I'm not talking about just any truck. I mean his truck. That same model, same dented up body, same soul. And every time it passes, I know that's Daddy. That's Jesus, that's Spirit saying, you're on the right path. Make the good choice. Now let me take you back. Yes, I lost my little sports car. I made some poor decisions and it got taken. And Daddy handed me the keys to that truck. And no, it didn't feel like a failure. That truck humbled me, and thank God for it now. Because back then, I didn't know anything about God. I wasn't in alignment. I didn't know who I was, but that truck, it carried me before I knew I was being carried toward. It taught me how to drive 3 on the column. It taught me strength. It taught me something life doesn't feel fancy all the time, but it is faithful. I got a few speeding tickets because you couldn't really creep around the neighborhood in it. That thing would bounce if you tried to slow it down or drive it slow or whatever. That truck taught me humility. It taught me resilience. It taught me how to listen before I even knew what listening to Spirit meant. And one day, years later, I'll never forget, I was sitting in this motorcycle shop, bored out of my mind. I'd been treated like I was nothing. You're gonna rip my dress. Stop it. And I asked God to please show me a sign that life was gonna be okay. And right then, out of nowhere, my daddy's truck just drove by. I hadn't seen it in years. I stood there frozen. I knew exactly right then. It was my sign. I jumped up, I called my stepmother right away, and I said, "Daddy's truck just drove by." She didn't understand it at first, but I did, because I had been studying. I'd been waking up. I had been becoming aware. And that wasn't the first time I knew for sure. This was my sign. This was sacred. It was the first time. That truck still drives by, still shows up, still reminds me that I am loved, that I am covered, that I am chosen wisely. And now when I see it, I don't cringe. I smile. I tear up because I know what it means. but I know I would have missed it if I wasn't aware. Neville Goddard says you must be the awareness, not just habit. And now I understand. And God's been sending signs. We just have to stop being so distracted that we miss them. So ask for the sign, but don't just ask. Be present enough to see it. Because when it comes, it shifts everything. And when she knows who she is, when she trusts her spirit, honors the whisper, walks in alignment, she puts on her armor of God and she goes on her way. And this is Love and Light Ministries. Every honor of God bracelet we send out is more than just a thank you. It's a symbol, a sacred reminder, a tool. It says you are loved and you are covered. You are already one with God. Thank you. And they also support women in safe houses, and it gives every woman a reminder to put her back in the hands of God and gives her power and reminds her who she is. Thank you.